What sort of tensions will there be, the former Health Secretary Matt Hancock, before this parliamentary inquiry today?
Well, Matt Hancock's appearing in front of the COVID inquiry. This is about looking at the UK's preparedness for the pandemic rather than the way in which the UK handled the pandemic, which is an important distinction. But I think there's going to be questions asked of Matt Hancock about, was the NHS set up to deal with a pandemic like coronavirus that we saw? Was there enough money in the budget for him to be able to deliver on that preparedness? And I think Matt Hancock is going to want to be saving his own reputation because, you know, he took a hit during the pandemic as Health Secretary, for obvious reasons, his affair, his breaking of the rules. This is unlikely to focus on that. This will be about whether or not the UK was prepared. We've seen David Cameron already appear in front of that inquiry saying that actually the UK was prepared for more like a flu-like pandemic and the coronavirus wasn't fitting that bill. So that's why we potentially had 175,000 deaths.
And we've also seen George Osborne appearing. What have we learned from the tone, the style of this inquiry so far, and what sort of day, based on that, do you think Matt Hancock is likely to have?
Yeah, there seems to have been two sort of main focuses, Isabel. The first is Brexit. So there was talk that a lot of planning within Whitehall, planning within government was taken up by how we prepared to leave the European Union, and that might have meant we've taken our eye off what was going on with being prepared for a pandemic. And the second is around austerity and budget cuts. Obviously, we saw David Cameron, George Osborne trying to balance the national books when they were in power, and some argue that they actually stripped back money from the NHS, stripped back money from the health service to be able to prepare for this type of event. And I think that's where this is going to focus on Matt Hancock. Now, Hancock, he was the one who was ultimately in charge, so there's going to be questions about whether he agrees with those sentiments or whether he's got a different view.
I think I'll find it very interesting whether people will be able to go with the Matt Hancock switch, you know, 1 minute no credibility and then trying to give himself lots of credibility. Today it'll be interesting to see if the public, indeed if the inquiry, buy into that, but I suspect he's gone beyond the point of no return. He is a man without credibility.
He is, and he's straddling this strange sort of point, Eamon, of being part celebrity going in the jungle, also being part politician. He's still a sitting MP, and I think he's struggling to find an identity. But we're going to see the serious Matt Hancock today, I'm sure. He's going to be wearing his suit and tie rather than, you know, the T-shirt we see him sometimes wearing on the more celebrity-focused programmes. So I think he's going to be wanting to protect his reputation, try and position himself as someone of integrity, as someone who was able to do that important job at the heart of government during an incredibly important time for the country. But, Eamon, I think you're right. The public are going to look at that and say, well, did we really trust this guy? Was he the right person to be in charge at the time?
Leon Emirali, as always, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Leon.